All right, we're live. Whew. Doug or Patrick, can you hear us?
Good evening. Yes, all clear.
We got you.
All right.
Okay, then we'll call the meeting to order. Approval of the minutes from June 13th.
Make a motion, we approve. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay. Audience of citizens. Patrick, Doug. 240 Kensington Road update. I don't know who's going to give that. Mike?
I guess I will.
Guess.
They're making a lot of progress downstairs, but there has been some discussion about the technology side of things, especially the cameras. And you guys have been kind of kept out of the fray, but the police department got up. They're using Norcom. They're switching over their own entire system, as you know, and that's outside their dead end or head end, whatever they call it, is outside of the project. The cameras and the cabling back to the dead end and inside the PD space is in the project. But there was some confusion, so Norcom actually sent them a proposal, the PD, for 26 grand for the same cameras that were in the PD scope. And I thought it was I was under the impression it was just the cabling that was in Millennium scope. It turns out it's 15 or 16 cameras as well. So we had a meeting, it was yesterday or the day before. This week is kind of crazy.
Yeah, that came up in the D-scope.
What was that?
That came up in the D-scope on the camera system.
Oh,
that
it did?
That was the big question. We thought that was the delta between Millennium and the next guy.
Yeah.
Was the cost of the cameras, but Millennium said they had them.
That's right, and they do.
Yeah.
They do. And in fact, their electrician had submitted a nice package of 2 megapixel cameras and all kinds of specs and all that. So now the PD at least is on. They're aware that that's in the project, but now they're talking about. Yeah.
So you just make sure it's not in
right
there.
Yeah. But Norcom had a separate proposal. But now they're talking about maybe moving a few of them around. There was one, I think on the drawings, they didn't have one outside the Sally ports, which the PD wants because they want visual of what's coming in. And also they're talking about the interview room. They have something called it's called a case cracker. Have you ever heard of those? Yeah. And the PD was under the impression that all the feeds would go back to the main unit in the server room. So there's some back and forth. So Brian and Ben and Kuski, they're kind of like working all this out. But my concern was like they're starting to sheetrock, and like let's get the cabling and all that figured out. So that was a flurry this week and last week about this. So it seems like it's getting ironed out, but I think just some details they got to work out. PD is still working out how they're going to pay the 70 grand for the server for the new Norcom system. So one of the approaches is to have Norcom actually supply the cameras and a few other things to Millennium's electrical sub. So Millennium's going back and talking to their electrical sub, and Norcom and the PD are working things out. And now IT is involved on our end, Brian and Oscar, the town's IT, on all this, and they suggested maybe a couple more jacks. So there's some technology stuff going on.
What is the Norcom doing? The cameras and the radio stuff on the cars?
Yes.
So they should do a service contract with them.
Yeah, and they're going to. Yeah. So in a way, the discussion was, well, if Norcom can be competitive, it'd be nice to have them supply the cameras, do the specs, and make sure the PD's happy with the cameras because they were 2 megapixels and 3 megapixels and 5 megapixel cameras, and the electrician only had 2 megapixel except for the case cracker, which I guess it's pretty cool, that system. I looked at it. They have hidden cameras everywhere and obvious cameras and microphones and little switches.
We did one when we did the Northampton, East Hampton Town Hall Police Department.
Yeah.
Which was took them to see in the rooms, did that building.
Right.
They had, I think, 4 interview rooms that had case cracker, which is it's a pretty neat system. It's got, you won't even know what they are. They look like a motion sensor.
Right.
But there's cameras and there's microphones hidden everywhere.
Right.
So you think you're by yourself, but you're not.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're listening.
But or if you're in an interview room, there's a
light.
camera.
There's a light that comes on.
No, I don't understand that part.
Oh, yeah.
But if
But it's a very nice system.
I mean, I would hope that if you're with
there's
a
no
lawyer that they're not being taped.
There's no dead spot in the room. Basically, it looks at everything.
Interesting.
And so the chiller is supposed to be shipped. This is like right up the alley. Was supposed to have been shipped It's gonna be shipped tomorrow.
The chiller
So-
for,
the PD.
oh,
Yeah,
Okay.
no, sorry, air handler unit. I'm getting confused with
I
Willard.
didn't think we had a chiller.
Yeah, they have the pad out back, they already poured it, so they're thinking they're gonna have it in, they're gonna install on this 22nd, but they still aren't exactly sure where they're gonna get it. So, they're thinking, it's a TBD on their schedule, but right now they got the electrician doing rough-in, plumbing rough started, I think, this week. And then the technology stuff's gonna follow after that. So they're cruising along, and I think you have a invoice or two to approve on that. So right now, things are cooking along.
just want to point out, I'm sure everybody's aware of it, but I feel like a grandfather here. Don't let the PD's inability to decide on these cameras or a slowness on the cameras to hold up the whole project, because that 70,000 or 90,000, whatever the cost is, their nickel, it's outside the project.
Right.
technically. So I don't want to see everybody waiting and then Millennium get, pushed back because somebody at PD can't make a
Yeah.
decision. I mean,
Well, the infrastructure should still be the same. You're gonna be
It
running
should
a Cat
be,
6 or
except-
whatever you're
Yeah, it's-
running.
to me,
just
it's
a
a-
matter of putting the camera.
Right, and,
Plugging
and,
it in.
and the box at the back in the server room is separate, but everything's running back to that. But I get what you're saying, and they're aware of it. In fact, we had one of the struggles they're having is how to get the funding for that, because they know they can't reach in, to this project. So that's sort of where
because
things stand.
Millennium's on a pretty good schedule.
Oh, yeah.
They're due to make it without too much of an issue. So
Yeah, I was
don't want-
down there. They're
Yeah.
cooking along. Yeah, the Sally ports they're gonna be probably, I don't know when they're gonna bust a hole for the second door, but they're actually pushing the PD for colors on the, and the architect on the overhead door, choices so that they can get those, ordered and whatever and in, so.
Good, I like it. when the
Yeah.
contract is-
So that's kind of where things stand. Yeah, they're making good, I mean,
Okay.
Millennium is on schedule. The camera thing's a little glitch, but I don't think it's holding them up right now, but got to get it worked out with the PD.
That crazy column that needs to be reworked, so
Right.
rusted out. Are we gonna leave that exposed when we're done?
I think, well, that's a question for, I guess, the group. And I think Brian had recommended or said might not be a bad idea, once the structural fixes have been completed and then waterproofing above it, if that's the way we go, leave it open for a while.
You
No, I
can
mean,
always
for-
close it up afterwards.
Well,
Yeah,
the only question I have is it require fireproofing?
yeah,
And if it does, if we're gonna leave it exposed, then we can use anemic paint on it,
okay,
so I'm fine with leaving it exposed. I think that's probably the way to go, especially if it's been leaking. So we'll know if it's leaking, if it's
At
exposed.
least for, one set of seasons
I
or
mean,
two.
if it was my house,
It's in
I'd
the
leave
gym,
it
isn't
open,
it?
for a while.
Yeah, I think it's in a workout.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, so leave it exposed. But if it needs fireproof paint, we'll put fireproof paint on it.
Yeah.
What did you call the material? Or-
It's anemic.
Anemic?
Anemic.
Oh, tinemic.
It's cement spelled
It
backwards.
was really thin.
It's cement spelled backwards.
Okay, got it.
Hold it up to the mirror.
Keep your foot down, gets all over everything.
So you have,
Okay, so I should, according to this, I have a Twin Cumes invoice for, 3 invoices.
yes, and I can explain some of them.
I was trying to
Okay.
figure these out.
Does the first one you have for 4260?
Yes.
That's the typical monthly that,
70.
right, 42, sorry, 42,
70.
Through May 15th.
yeah, so that's for, I'm sorry, you're right. That's
I never hear that.
515 through 614. So that's their typical monthly bill.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to pay it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay.
Okay,
That's
then,
one.
number 2, it's for it's actually the SKF bill plus their markup for the structural engineering. So they did that fix-it sketch.
So that's
For the-
2,073.50.
Yes,
That's a change order though.
That's a change. Yes, it should be a change order.
oh, okay.
Right.
So, okay,
It is, we just gotta approve the change order.
We can, approve the payment, but then we need to get a change order done.
I think it's a $0 change order. I thought we had enough money in
in the budget to cover it.
Well, that's on the design and construction administration end for Jacuzzi Humes, because it's their bill, it's not for Millennium.
But we
So-
had, I thought in the budget of the project, we had,
Oh, we do, yeah.
so I think it's a $0 change order. It's just
just
accounting for
paperwork.
it's accounting for the money that we're spending it.
Well, either way, a change order has to come back to you.
Correct.
Okay, all right,
Well, we can approve
You
the
want-
payment. I don't want to hold them up.
okay,
I mean, even for $2,000.
Right.
Just put it on there to paperwork.
I agree.
okay.
Okay.
That's number
And
two.
then the third,
Did you approve that?
I just signed. it.
Oh, no.
Wait a minute,
right.
wait a minute. We need an approval.
Yeah.
Do I have an approval for $2,073.50?
A change order. for
Change
2,000.
order for $2,073.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, now it's done. And the third one I have is for $2,135.
Which is for half a month. Because our finance department likes to get everything in fiscal
Oh, they're doing
years.
their fiscal
So
year.
that's a half a year, it's like basically 6/14 to the end of the month.
Right.
Yeah, half a month. And
Make a
they
motion, we
even have
pay it.
six,
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I know, Don, I know you're impressed with this.
I understand the accounting side.
Okay, and then we have an application for Millennium Builders, voice for $147,576.06, signed and approved by Brian Hughes.
Make a motion to pay it.
What percent complete is that? Yeah, no.
Use glasses.
Back to
I can't see the print, that's.
Oh, yeah, they have it done. Don will get to it first, I know.
the 28%.
Well, it's more than that.
They broke it down by page.
I would guess around 60.
This one says 56.
Okay.
Close enough for a poll. So, I can't remember, did anybody,
I made a motion to pay it.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, that's done. Board of Ed, HVAC upgrades. So I don't know if Patrick and Doug want to take turns, or whether they want to just stick it to Mike.
I'd start with Patrick.
Can I volley back to Mike?
Whoa, this isn't ping pong.
So we were all on site this past week for the meeting yesterday. Did a walk around to the school afterwards, and basically where we're at inside is there's some miscellaneous installation at valve packs, for example, above the ceiling they need to complete. And then they have a carpenter on site. They basically finished the framing for some of the chases. They're sheetrocked and taping at this point. It kind of just varies by room what phase they're at between the taping or still sheetrocking. Other than that, we have one chiller at the rigger right now. The other one is due next week. So once we get the second chiller, they're basically planning on turning it around and dropping it onto the pad. We do have a few more courses from the mason to complete at the enclosure. I believe that was just them waiting on some more material. And then we need to get on the precast cap around that enclosure. They do have the gate installed for the enclosure, so that's all closed off right now. And the fence with the gate in the mechanical space in the basement. The
Are
other
we going to wait for these to finish before we set the chillers? Or,
No.
I'm sorry, not chillers, but the
Yeah, the chillers. Yeah.
chillers are outside?
Yep.
Okay.
They said that they could do it after, I thought, what they told us.
Yeah.
Or in effect,
That's why I'm asking.
I thought they said that in one of the last meeting.
I think they can do it either way. But hey, Patrick, I didn't pick up. Were they going to wait for were they going to have the mason finish the outside enclosure before setting the chillers, or are they just going to go ahead and set them first?
No, chiller's priority.
Okay,
Chiller-
good. All right.
Once we got them, they want to get them set as soon as possible.
There's a lot of work associated with them.
Yeah, and they can once you set the chillers. Let's say if the mason doesn't have the material yet, and they're not, it's next week, and they're setting the chillers. They can be inside the enclosure working on the chillers while the mason's finishing the last couple courses.
Thank you.
And then the other we're just waiting on the remaining switch gear for the chiller. That's due to come, I believe, in the next 3 weeks. But that date is held for a while now. We knew about that was going to be out there for a bit.
So you have the power down date set up for connecting the switch gear?
That's pending when we get the delivery. Which I'm trying to look for the date right now. I guess I just don't have it in hand. But we were always projecting, I think it was this first or second week in August for that. And that's been holding. So once we get that installed and then that up, and we'll have to do a shutdown. I know they've been talking about doing shutdowns. It was more for an RFI we had out there related to the transformer for the solar. So we'll just have to see how it all plays out. Obviously, we want to minimize the shutdowns, but we may be looking at 2 separate ones.
Well, at least the school won't be occupied.
Right.
When does school start again? Last week in August?
Yeah, but they're in the middle of August.
Yeah, but you can shut it down if some teachers. It's the kids who do it. Teachers can stop.
You don't have to worry about teachers.
Don't have to go on a weekend.
You probably get a complaint.
I'm hearing that. All right. Anything else? Doug, you got anything?
Nothing further to add, Tom. Thank you.
Okay. And we have we have an invoice from Newfield, which is their regular monthly invoice of $20,388.49.
Motion to approve.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Done. And then we have an invoice from Allstate Construction Company for $214,339.95. So that's correctly. And brings the balance to finish $955,649 out of a total contract sum of $4,063,000, so roughly 75% fund.
Doug, do you have any issues with the work they've done out there so far?
No, Don, they've been great. Everything's good.
Okay. I make a motion we pay.
And they're on schedule?
Second.
Nobody's worried about meeting the schedule? Guess not. All right.
Follow the course.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
I'll
Okay.
second it.
I second it. Tom?
Oh, you seconded it?
Don,
Yeah.
and then yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. No one heard me.
And then,
I heard myself.
all right, oh, I see. We have an invoice from Fire Architecture for $510 for services this period. It's automating pay applications for view properties in the carpentry system.
I think they caught up last month too. They didn't send one last month.
This is for last month?
No, they didn't send one last month. So
So this is through June 30th.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's up to the top. So,
And it's within budget.
yes.
I make a motion we pay it.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hey, I just want you guys to know, side note, those Dakin chillers that we're using out there, I've had problems with those now on 3 different jobs. And it's in the controls, it's not in the chiller performance itself. So just give you guys a heads up on that.
Okay.
Okay.
What's our warranty like?
Well, it came down, both jobs came down to wiring issues as well as programming issues. And it's hard to track them down. It becomes very difficult. And what happens is during the economizer season, we've been freezing up coils. So
Is it like a manufacturer defect or do they have a fix for it?
yeah, they did. Well, they denied it all the way through until we found it. We had to prove it to them. We had to bring in outside engineers. That's why we got involved. And we were able to determine that A, there was some wiring issues, and then B, it was programming. And they had to go line by line through the code to find it, and they fixed it. So just make sure that the code, it's been upgraded for the codes for the programming. That's all.
You also you may have a change order.
No,
You don't, I have it.
That was my next question
Oh.
too, and I don't know what they're referring to.
Well, one of them will be for the Willard project, which is a zero order for the shutdown valve for the RPZ assembly.
That change order number 10?
Yeah, number 10, yeah. And we missed one on the previous PD project, so that's the second one. So that we'll go back. We'll circle back to that one after we release Patrick.
Bush died. Okay, well, let's do change order 10 first.
And if Patrick, you already explained this, but you might want to just run it through again so the guys can just get the lowdown.
Yeah, no problem. So what this is we have RPZ in the new mechanical space that we created down the basement. This area doesn't have any floor drains, and it wasn't in the scope to put a floor drain in, and it would be kind of a big feat to put one in. So what CS came up with is there's a sensor you can put in under the RPZ when it blows off to link that to a shutdown valve to shut the feeder off. So it'll still let the pressure release from the system, but it'll shut down so there's no water coming in from into the loop, being introduced to the loop. Now this will also tie to the building control. So when it goes off, Doug and his crew would get the alert.
So somebody needs to buy a couple of mops then.
Yeah.
Just some water on, is it in an area that at least is somewhat contained, the release of the water?
I mean, it's the floor where we're at. It's the lower level of Willard, and it's that side where it was all storage. But it seems like it was all built initially to be potentially classroom space. So it's a nice level floor. It's the same level as the hallway as all the other classrooms. So if you do get a good amount of water, it would creep.
So we need to put a drain in.
Well,
Or at least
no,
or a sump with a,
but
with some.
where it is along the back wall of the school, where all the other mechanical stuff is. It's like the storage area is further to, I guess you'd call it the front of the school.
Okay.
And I think the initial release is not more than, is it 5 gallons or something? It's not like a big amount. I was expecting 50 gallons,
No,
when
it's not a huge amount.
Yeah.
But the concern was if something happened and that RPZ failed for some reason or was getting hammered, like a hammer effect to it, this would just shut down the feeder valve, so no water is being introduced. So it'll get to a point where it has no water left to, by pressure anyway, release.
Yeah, once the system is drained, no.
Hopefully, if we drain the whole system, we have a much bigger problem.
No, understood. But I mean, worst case, if they had to, they could cut a sump in the floor or put something in to contain it, pump it out without having to put a full drain in, something really involved, if they had to.
Or they could put a small dam around it.
Yeah, just like you said, dam that section of it.
Doug, what's your feeling on it? You're the one that's got to live with it.
Yeah, it's kind of the doomsday type of scenario. Typically the backflows are in the boiler room, which does have a floor drain. In this scenario, this was intended to be classroom space, so in theory, the potential be that without monitoring, we could see a couple inches of water on the floor for the whole lower level before it made its way out the back door. So there would be some mitigation efforts needed if it ran all night, but I think this scenario is much more cost effective, practical. In a perfect world, yes, we'd love to have a floor drain, a dry well, something, but if it becomes an issue, we can deal with it down the road, but this will certainly help alarm us if there is an issue. The backflows get checked semi-annually, and I think even more than that, I got to double check the frequency, but there is enough monitoring between custodial staff and the doors are open and school staff. So there's pretty good coverage 16 hours a day. So this would be from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. If something were to happen, this will alarm us.
So this $28,000, $29,000 is.
No, it's
zero.
it's 78.
What's the change orders for $28,831? Oh, no, that's.
No, that was the previous, yeah. So it was zero, but
$7842.
if you go to the next page, you'll see 7842. Yeah.
So the 7842 is a more cost-effective way of dealing with the problem than just, assuming either a sump pump or a floor drain.
Well, it's a flat floor, so nothing would get into the drain.
Well, the other thing we have to remember is, and I know I was saying water before, but it's not just water, it is a glycol system too. And we can't just discharge that into,
We come into a whole new
yeah,
criteria of water, separation with it's going to be tens of thousands of dollars to do anything more than the lion's share of this cost is for the BMS integration. I mean, it's a $300 take-home part that can be used at a residential home, but it's the control integration and everything else that goes with it, which drives the cost up, but it's still a lot less than trying to do a dry sump and separation and all that.
Well, it should be polyethylene glycol anyways. It shouldn't be ethyl glycol. So that has minimal effect on the environment. But I'm all for it. I think it's the way to go.
Okay. So I have an approval for change order number 10 for $7,842.
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I second.
Okay, there's that one. And then I got another change order here, Mike.
Well, that we're going to circle back to after we finish the schools. Because, yeah, circle back. Sorry, I shouldn't say that. We're going to loop on back to the PD. I missed that.
Oh, this is
Yeah.
with the PD?
Yeah. It was for the
Okay,
structure.
well, I think we're done with this part of it. The next one will be the slab moisture group, so let's do this before that.
Well, not so fast. And I have to get to Griswold and Hubbard. Because the
Okay.
grant awards have come in from
I
the
saw that,
state.
and I have an easy question.
Yeah.
According to all the emails that went back and forth, the issue now is,
Should we let Patrick go?
Yeah, Patrick,
Patrick.
if you want to roll, Patrick, we're done with Willard.
all right, thanks guys.
okay, see ya. Seems to me that the issue is going back and forth between Newfield and town attorney and Kevin
And DAS.
and DAS, that if we may be able to do this, but if we're considering using the ARPA funds, it might kick it out and make it not eligible. How much is the ARPA funds?
I think it's not big. It's like $140 something thousand.
So why don't we not use it? Let the town use the ARPA funds.
It could
for
be
something
used
else.
it could be used for something else.
Yeah.
But the DAS has come back and said
It's above
you
the
should
dollar
do a
amount.
separate RFP. So I'm not
Who's DAS again?
they're the people administering the school grants.
Administrative
Yeah,
services.
that's where we're getting the money from.
And they're being very careful of everything these days.
Yeah, and they
Then-
sent this,
then, rather than
I-
go back and forth.
I don't wanna be in the news
Unless you want
I-
to take a trip.
right now, I mean, to me, after all the back and forth, and listen, we asked questions of
No,
everybody.
I saw that back and forth.
And then
So-
so the safest route really is to do,
Let's just go out.
right.
No big deal.
I think unfortunately that's probably the way to
You know,
go. But
if, like I said before, we don't have to take the cheapest amount. We have to take the most qualified.
Right.
All I'm gonna say on this.
Okay. So having put that aside for now, and that can still be discussed because we still have to get a bid package together for the contractor. So along those lines, I asked CES and Fryer to submit revised proposals.
Okay.
Taking out construction administration, because that's probably going to have to be a separate RFP.
Right.
Because we're going into the grant
Yes.
zone construction, right?
Yes.
So Fryer sent me a revised proposal, took out 16 grand from each proposal that they had already submitted. So their proposals now, they have one for Griswold and one for Hubbard, and both are the same amount, $34,070.
Okay.
So if you want to, and this is for getting the bid package together, and helping out during bidding, and then taking it up to contract award. And then after that, we have to have another firm or someone else contracted through the competitive process. So we have $34,000 and 70 times 2, one for Griswold, one for Hubbard. CES did not send me revised proposals, but they have theirs broken out. So if you want to, and they have less work because they already did all the contract documents. Fryer has to do the chiller drawings and the site work stuff and ceiling plans and all that stuff inside for ripping down the ceilings and replacing. CES has $17,000 for each school for the revising the CDs and bid services. Their CA services were $15,000 for each school. So that's $17,000 and $17,000. Griswold, Fryer is $34,000 and $34,000, and that would allow us to get the bid package together with Newfield's help. And Newfield has already said they'll do it in the existing contract. They won't charge us an extra fee. I talked to Brian about that. So the design team can get the stuff ready and put a bid package together.
Let's do it.
Okay, so if you're okay with that, we have proposals from Fryer on each one that could be approved tonight. And then you can approve CES's fees for the CDs and the bid services for $17,000 for each school. I can get revised. I'd like to separate them. I'd like to have them separated, clean them up, and take CA out of them.
Yep.
But if you approve the fee, then I can get the proposals and get the POs for that. Once I figure out where the money's coming from. But that's not your problem. It's my problem. Are you?
I'm totally on board. I
Yeah.
don't want to hold this up.
Yeah, because to me, starting them on getting the bid package together is kind of key, and then we could figure out how to do the CM and the construction administration for the architect and for the mechanical engineer, and put those together, and then decide when we put that out.
Well, that's going to be key because we're going to put this thing out probably December, January.
As soon as
I would
possible.
hope it'd be
Or sooner.
sooner. Yeah.
No reason
Award
why
it.
we can't.
Yeah.
Because we got time delays on ordering.
Well,
Right.
yeah. So I would think it's going to be before December.
So I think we want to get this out as soon as possible so we can order the stuff because they're
Yeah.
not going to do it.
Right, and
It's going to be the same schedule. They're
we still
going to
don't
press
know what
stuff
the terms of the
in.
grant are. We might lose the grant if we don't get it done, so.
Right.
Better to proceed with it.
Yeah,
So that's the situation. So if you want to approve Griswold and Hubbard, the Fryer numbers of 34,070 and I'll just give you their terminology. Well, I can give you the entire thing if you want to see it, or you can find a way to summarize
I
it.
just think we just need to know what the total is. That's all.
Yeah. So it's for Fryer Architecture for each school is $34,070.
that's 6,840.
Well, I would do each one separately myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just,
Yeah.
Look at total.
Yeah. And then for CES, it's $17,000 for each school.
So it's
$34,000.
$200,000 round numbers.
no.
No, 100.
No,
Yeah,
68,
30 and
34,
change
34,
and
17,
30.
17.
I knew what I meant.
Yeah, Jason, you didn't hear him?
Yeah, the only question I have for that is, what's their time frame? Let's say we approve them now, how long is it gonna take them to get that together? Did they say that in there anywhere?
Let's see. I know. Well, CES can move pretty quick because for them it's okay. Let's see. 4 to 6 weeks is CES,
It should be a little
and then
longer.
Fryer might be a little longer. Let me see what they have. I don't think but they understand what's going on here.
So let's put it this way then, let's say
Put a caveat then.
September 1, they have to be 100% complete.
Okay.
That gives them more than enough time.
Some of this should be able to do that. Cut
Well,
a
if they can't, let them
vacation.
come back to us.
Cut a few
And,
vacations out.
send an email around. and
Look at
say why.
interns hanging around with them to do.
Yeah.
Summer intern,
things are
yeah.
slow.
That's all they're good. That's the
I think they have
interns
most of
are
this
going to
stuff
do
done
that.
already.
Right,
It's not going to have real people do it.
Okay.
You think that's doable?
Well, that's 2+ months,
Yeah.
right? So August, September, well, when you say September 1st?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, September
It's a month
1st.
and a half.
Okay. They do have to do a limited survey outside for the chiller work, to make sure they
Yeah,
don't.
tell them September 1, and let's see what they come back with.
Right.
Okay.
If we have to go to September 15th, that'll be
Okay.
all right.
Because I think what's gonna happen is by the time we get everything else out to bid, get the
Right.
package together and everything,
Yeah.
we're talking probably the end of September.
Yeah.
Right.
So it gives them a little bit of wiggle room in there. We can supplement if we get the bid packages out. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I think it gives us a little breathing room.
That's a
Then
little.
We could get stuff ordered, the long lead time stuff.
No, I know that. Yeah, but all this
Well, we
design
can't do
stuff.
that till we have CM on it, so.
Well, that's another RFP.
Well, I mean,
You know,
we gotta.
we
do
can have
what we gotta
at least
do
3
if we
RFPs
get down.
on
We
the
need to get
construction
that done.
end.
We can't order stuff.
I know.
Tell you the CM's gonna be right now.
I
But
yeah.
if they're downstairs, no one's gonna get under their nose.
So. Okay. Motions.
So I make a motion, we approve the architect and the engineer for the 2 schools separated, the cost out with the completion for their work product by September 1.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Done.
All right.
Got some work. You thought you were getting a summer off.
Do you want to go back to the PD and deal with that change order that I overlooked? It's
Yes.
it's for the structural work. We got to fix that beam.
Okay.
All right.
Since we already paid for the SK.
And it's
So this is a change order number 5.
yes.
It's signed off by Brian Hume, and if I'm reading this right, got my cheaters, it's $9,038.78.
I think it's 58.
I think it's 78.
Oh,
958.
Nine-
$9,058.
that's 70. Okay. You knew what I meant.
So I need a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. That's done. Slab moisture review.
Oh, this is easy and good. Town council approved Wisp, Gender, and Elstner's proposal for 29.5
Wish
with
Jenny,
WJE. How about that?
I like that better.
Wish Jenny, is that the
Yes.
colloquial? Okay, all right. Yeah, for 29.5 plus a $1,500 contingency. So I'm trying to get a PO for $31,000, getting a W-9 from John, and we'll get them rolling. So that's to analyze the strata and the upper part of the slab. And the town council was very complimentary to the PVC and noted stuff like, thank God you guys are on the job, because someone else would have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars and gotten no.
We may, yeah.
I know that.
This is just
I didn't,
step one.
I didn't want to say, by the way, if it turns out it's, not going anywhere else, it's probably like a big number.
Then we have to go to that meeting.
Yeah, I know. I'll be like in the back row,
You're taking a vacation.
So, no, but I
That will
think,
be under the category, no good deed goes unpunished.
Yeah,
Well,
I
this
know,
is a good
I know.
deed.
Honestly, I think once he does the analysis back, I think it's gonna be a multi-pronged approach.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be different numbers for different parts and pieces,
right,
and it's gonna be implemented probably over time.
right.
Is my guess.
Yeah,
So,
okay. So that's all I have to report on.
Were they mad that nobody showed up at the meeting?
yeah, they want.
No,
they
no,
want you
no.
weren't there.
no. They
Well, tell them I was
they
in case
really
I was
like
going
they
around town
really
there.
like you guys, and they want to see you.
Yeah,
Right.
a little support.
I'm just telling you, every time I'm at the pre-agenda meetings, well, anyone from the PBC going to be there? I'm like, I didn't, you know what? I'll let them know if they want to come, they can come. But I knew
You
you
let
guys.
them know that they have our unfiltered moral support. Because I do
All right.
like what they're
I
doing
have
there. and
attention.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
okay with it.
they're definitely keeping holding people's feet to the fire, so to speak. So that's all I have to report on that. So
But
once we
now
get-
the next item, number 7, is the McGee Middle School. We may change our opinion. What's up
yeah,
with that?
that I think we actually Doug can chime in, but the last that I recall was what's the name of that company? Doug, who was going to come in? Oh, Castle Booze, yeah. And then they were going to do the whole gamut, and then
No.
this group said, "Whoa, hold back." pulling the reins. So I don't know where that went, and maybe Doug has. I don't know where it went. So Doug, do you have anything to report on that?
Yeah, I think the recommendation was to do an RFP for the first couple phases. So we're going to work on that with the Board of Ed.
Okay,
All right.
any new business?
I have something fresh.
Circle
I
line.
don't want to hear
Given to
anything
me
about
today.
truck wash.
No. Oh, by the way, well, we'll deal with that. But
No.
no.
That's good enough.
Grand
No.
opening.
That's good news too.
Out of an animal control center.
Free car wash.
Oh no.
For everybody on the PVC.
The town council at Tuesday's meeting referred the town roof replacements 2024 project to the Public Building Commission for a review of this project. And this was in connection with the bond ordinance appropriating $1.1 million for town roof replacement.
Roof for what?
Which building?
All right.
My house?
Shed,
Hang on.
dugout.
I'm gonna, let me give you details. Where we're sitting, Town Hall, Berlin Peck Memorial Center. And it's, let's see, and that's it. So really,
just
it's
Here, this campus.
It's the library and the town hall.
So we get Castle Blues involved again. Didn't they do this building?
Well, Doug, I think Doug has stuff lined up already, but, or whatever. So, I was surprised to see a roof replacement referred to this group, but town council wants you guys to.
Is it,
$1.1
$1.1 million
Really?
is the bond ordinance.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
What, is this a rubber roof?
Doug, can you help out? I have no idea what's being put on.
I think there's shingles.
Well, there's shingles on this roof.
Yeah,
Asphalt.
asphalt, architectural asphalt, or I'm sorry, 3 tabs, which are no more. So
On the parapets.
So there's $1.1 million worth of asphalt shingles. Holy moly.
Well, it's the bond ordinance, so it probably includes
So that
more.
stuff snuck in there?
No, I don't know.
Okay, well,
Is it, there's no flat roof?
Up,
It's all pitched?
well, this looks, Doug, are there any flat roofs on the town hall?
So about 6 years ago, we did the flat roofs over with EPDM, the soffits and fascia. That was one project. So this project, the 1.1, includes contingency from the cost estimate from Chukumsky Humes, all the square footage for town hall along with the library building. So we have cost estimates for that.
total roof replacement.
No,
Mansard, everything.
it doesn't sound like it. It sounds like we're just talking the mansard sections, right? Is
All
that
the
what-
shingle
is that-
sections, yeah, it's to redo all of the library and the town hall, which are all asphalt shingles. And obviously contingency and A&E fees and everything was built in. It's a whole cost estimate, again, an estimate with an escalator built in. So we can share that with the group if anybody wants to see that for reference, but it was strictly the bond ordinance was to include all of that and not necessarily bond the full amount, but have the ability to bond it if we needed it. Just like the next item that was referred that Mike's going to talk about. It included all kinds of work.
We didn't, I didn't get that yet, Doug, because it was rejected by town council. Have you talked about
Oh,
the
that's right.
athletics?
That'll be the next meeting. But yeah, the council approved this one. The Board of Finance rejected both. That'll come back at the next meeting to council, but it's both of them are at the PBCs. They're both coming to the PBCs. Everybody knows. So
Do we have plans and specs for the 3-tab shingle roof?
JHA has the building for many other projects, but certainly how whatever you guys want to do, we can get what we have and take it from there.
Okay.
And I was I attended the meeting. I wasn't clear on, I have a feeling they want you guys to look at the costs,
Yeah.
I mean, basic stuff, but I don't have anything else. I just got this today from Kate, and which is a resolution, just deferring, the whole project, so.
It's more than
I
I
guess
It's a lot of roof though.
It's more than
Did anybody do an
It's more-
inspection?
Whoa, damn, yeah.
Did anybody do an inspection of the
Yeah.
roof to see if anything other than shingles?
I know nothing.
Is this,
Well,
is this roof number 2 or 3 we got
Yeah.
on top of it? Is it a complete
These were
strip
built
off,
in what,
Doug?
the
Or?
70s?
Yeah, that's gonna be a big,
This would be the third one. The last record is from the early 90s, I believe. We have the last few years been doing a lot of spot repairs. We have nails popping through. So we've been doing repairs the last couple of years at both facilities. So we're not in dire straits yet, but we do have some active leaks. We address them as they come in. Some of the plywood's getting soft, nails are popping through. So we got issues. It's make it through another winter if we have to, but it needs to be done soon.
By state code, you gotta take the roof and go back to the substrate. Gotta take off all the shingles, any paper, anything else. I don't think you can go over it a third time.
No, you have to, and you got to put ice and water.
Then you
shield
gotta
on
have
it.
ice and water dam
And
and all
who
that.
knows if there's plywood damage.
And if it's plywood damage, you gotta.
It looks like a lot of mildew on the library building.
I'm just gonna make one comment. We're not gonna allow Bart to pick the color.
Good. Thank you very much.
He
Put that on the
failed
record.
on the masonry work. with the
I think
chiller.
pewter gray is what I think we should go with.
But I don't,
Puke.
and I don't know what
Puke.
review means. I don't know if it's to administer, it says review. That's the terminology. So whatever your interpretation of that is, you know.
Well, don't go with a review, and if they ask us to administer, we will. But
Right.
it's
Not new constructions, though.
yeah. I'm on the fence. I mean, if a good qualified roofer, you guys and Doug should be able to follow that.
So it's a total ripoff then. I mean.
It very well may be, but.
Removal, I'm sorry, removal
that
of
from
everything.
It's called tear off.
Tear off, okay, thank you. So that was
Doug, give
the
us
new
everything you
business.
got on it, we'll take a look at it.
Yep.
So,
Understood. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay. And get ready to count nails. More
Well-
new business now?
Well, you might as well just be forewarned. What else? The other bond ordinance that got rejected on Tuesday was $2.3 million for something like that. It was for Sage Park athletic improvements, and it includes the high school track redo.
we
No.
did
Which
that.
track?
The
Which
field?
track is it, Doug?
So there's a little confusion. So the Piscoglio field at the high school, the turf was redone. Went from grass to turf, but now this is the track itself, not the turf inside the track. The track itself.
Track about 7 years ago, way before the turf.
Well, and that was the concern about doing the turf, so we didn't damage and have to rip up the track.
Yeah, because we went through this already. So they want to put a new track on there? Is that what they're proposing?
Just seal it, or?
I
Anyway,
believe Mike knows better, but it's I think the patchwork's been done a few times now. This is the complete redo of it, you know?
Of the track behind the high school, not at Sage.
Correct.
There isn't one at Sage.
Well, anyway, it's coming.
Well,
It's not here.
On a football field, there's a-
No,
right, there is.
it's
So
just a walkway.
Seriously, we did this about 7 years ago.
Yeah.
We redid that track.
Yeah.
So maybe it got screwed up by something on
Wow, I'm spinning the piss.
Yeah.
it. That's why it comes back to us.
Yeah.
So that's a little early tsunami
I go
warning
for
out
cinder
in the ocean. You see the little buoy coming your way.
I like the sound of cinder shot. You run on.
We'll do like,
The old high school just used to have a dirt rut in the field. They used to
Yeah.
run around the rut.
What else
No,
we got?
no more new business.
Old business?
Old business.
Closing out the high school?
High school. High school, I have nothing to report. Anything to report, Doug?
I have not heard nothing, unfortunately. And Kevin's still working with the state as last direction, and the last correspondence everybody saw that it's kind of at idle right now up there.
I would pay for the rest of the schools.
It would.
Then the,
Senior Center.
nothing going on there.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
And I will add the truck wash. It's done.
I know, I went by there the other day.
Yeah, it's,
I said, it looks
do
pretty
they have
good.
the CO yet, Doug? Or is there,
They wouldn't let me wash
We
my car.
don't
though.
need no stinking seal.
well,
It
it's
really
got a
had nothing
permit.
to do with that.
Yeah, so it's,
Just next month, which is August, I don't think I'm gonna be here for the meeting. I think I'm gonna be on vacation,
Oh, darn.
babysitting 2 kids, 2 grandkids, 2 dogs,
I won't be in September.
my future mother-in-law and her grandmother.
congratulations,
Her
future
mother.
mother-in-law.
Oh, this is not gonna be fun. So maybe I'll come back and do
How
that.
much is this gonna cost you?
What's that?
How much is this gonna cost? you?
Insanity.
How much poor are you gonna be?
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
So anyhow, I just wanna make sure we have enough coverage for August, 'cause I know it's a vacation time. So I'll be there.
I don't think I'll be.
Don can run the
When is
meeting.
that?
from-
No,
Maybe
Mark,
I'll be
Mark,
sure.
Mark's in charge.
Well, just in case Mark is away, you can run the.
I
meeting
won't be in
from-
September. I know that.
September, you're not here.
I'm-
All right, I'll be here in September.
make sure.
I made the motion.
I seconded it.
We all approve.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Not too
Good night,
bad.
all. Thank you. Have a good night. Thank you.
Doug, thank you.
Congratulations. No emails after,
How's your shoulder and arm now?
Oh, not bad. The ribs actually, I was expecting, you told me I was expecting, so it mustn't have been that bad.